Hey YouTube, 1986 Foxbody Mustang. Going to be building myself a custom chin spoiler for it. For material on this, I picked up a 8x4 sheet of PVC foam. It's plastic. Here's the information on it in case you're wondering. You can take a look at that, freeze it if you need to. Anyways, again, 1/4 inch thick. If you wanted to, you could go a little thicker. Don't recommend you go much thinner than that. Plastic is nice, it's easy to work with. And along with the plastic, you don't have to, but I went through the trouble. I think it looks really cool. Got a couple chin spoiler rods. These ones are really cool. They're good quality product. Got these from a company in California, I think it is, where they're at. Fully Torqued Racing, and the website is .com. So fullytorquedracing.com. You can look them up on the internet, and really good to deal with. And I got the some additional hardware as well to mount these. So anyways, you can get some stuff off eBay if you want for like 14-15 bucks or even cheaper. They're pretty cheap. If you're going to go through trouble building something like this, take the time and do it right. So to cut this material, I have a saber saw, and I got that here with a semi-coarse blade on it. Again, plastic cuts really easy. And the nice thing with the plastic is, especially with the black, is if you have some chalk, if you've got any kids around, you can mark it up really easily, and gives you some good lines and guides for cutting it afterwards as well. So what I've done right now is still have my vehicle on axle stands for my new tires and rims I've installed. I propped some boxes up underneath the vehicle and got the plastic going up front here. I got it lined up even with the back of the fender here. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be making myself a guide and template and marking this up with the chalk and then cutting it. So I'm going to make myself a little guide here and mark it up with the chalk, and I'll give you a shot of that, and then I'll take it off, cut it, and we'll see where we go from there. Alright, so I marked up where I'm going to be cutting the front plastic sheet. So what I did real quick, made myself a piece of cardboard spacer equivalent where I want to cut, and I used this as a guide and kind of went right around the front bumper and worked my way around, and that's what gave me a nice clean line pretty well. I put the chin spoiler rods approximately where I want to install them and make sure that there be no issues with clearances or anything like that. So the nice thing with these quality ones is they stand in place like that, where the cheaper ones probably wouldn't. Anyways, so I got my chalk line all the way around, did that, and try to make both sides the same. I've seen some people on YouTube where they do a template, they do half, and then they do the other half exactly the same. The only thing is, consider that the vehicle's over 30 years old. Don't think everything be symmetrical. So the nice thing is, this will, if you just do it this way, it will allow for any bumps and bruises that your car may have got over the years. So anyways, again, so I got my chalk line all the way around, so I'm going to take that off now and cut that all the way through, and then file it smooth to take off a little bit of the rough edges, and we'll see how that ends up. Alright, so I got the saw out and cut off along the chalk line, and then after that used a coarse wood file to file the edges and make them smoother, and actually that cut really well. That cut about as easy as hot knife through butter. Alright, so I'm going to get this on the vehicle and prop it up and see how that looks. Okay, so I've got the chin spoiler back on the vehicle, just to make sure I'm happy with the lines on it. I'm going to have to do a little bit more sanding just to kind of smooth some things out and take a couple of rough edges off, but overall it looks pretty good and where I need it to go. So the last item is on top of this now. I got a whole bunch of plastic going underneath the engine compartment, so what I'm going to do is right underneath the rad is a good space to tie on to, so I can probably make some brackets, if not fasten onto there directly. But anyways, again, I can take some chalk in now, mark some lines on the inside in the engine compartment, and what I can remove, and remove all the extra underneath. Alright, back at you. Okay, so I've hollowed out the part of the chin spoiler that was going into the engine compartment. Cut that all away. I've actually smoothed out the spoiler so it's nice and smooth all the way around. Filed that with the wood file. And where I'm going to in the engine compartment right now is just past where the rad mounts. The bracket actually holds the radiator in place. It actually has 4 holes in it already. So I've already marked those out on the chin spoiler. and drilled some pilot holes around for mounting. And what I'm going to be using for mounting hardware is I got some 1/4-inch stainless hardware here that I got, very large washers and nylon thread bolts, just so they don't back off. And just give you an idea what I've done on the corner pieces here. I've got a little bit of a challenge, so what I did, so if you just want to consider view this as the corner of the spoiler that's going to be sitting in here like this, what I've done is on the spoiler I drilled a couple holes, and what's going to happen with this now, let me show you. Hop underneath. So I have got some bolts, and they're just going to be sitting in here like this. One in the front, one in behind as well, and then between those 2 points, that should give enough strength to hold the spoiler in place. These things will be working against one another, so one will keep the spoiler from going forward, the other one from going backwards, and we're just going to sandwich that together, and that should work. So anyways, had to get a little creative on that. So anyways, you're going to have to take a look at your vehicle, see what you have in there. I didn't want to drill into the spoiler here on the vehicle, just there's not a lot there to hold on to, and I didn't think it was going to hold very well. So anyways, got a little creative on that, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so I somewhat attached the spoiler, chin spoiler, to the vehicle, and we can see here that this is going to work. This will hold to the back, and I realized that it's nice that I pilot drilled some other holes and lined them up already, but I'm seeing now that things are going to move a little bit, so as nice as that is, that's going to be a real pain in the butt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the chin spoiler off now. I'm going to paint it, get it ready to go, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount these, being I already got the back ones ready to go. I'm going to start at the back, I'll put a couple of bolts in the front, and then just work my way around. And what I might even do from the inside here is probably put some self-tappers in, just drill and self-tap them from the bottom up. I think that's probably easier to mount that way. So anyways, it's been a good project so far, and kind of learning my way through here what I need to do. So at least hopefully give you some idea what's involved here and what may work for you. So the hardware should work fine. The nice thing is, from the front of at least the Mustang Cobra grills, you have access in the side here, so you shouldn't have no problems putting some bolts in the front all the way along there to give some strength. You put your chin spoiler rods in, that'll be pretty easy to put in, do that last, and that should pretty well work. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to finish the spoiler. Going to do a homebrew carbon fiber paint scheme, kind of match a little bit what I've done to my my side flares and my mirrors as well, and I got my dash done that way as well. So gonna do the same scheme for that. I can paint that, so it's just a silver base paint. Gonna put some shelf liner on top of it, paint that black, take that off and spray black over it, and then I got some clear black that's gonna go on top of that, and I'll show you what that looks like before I put it on. Okay, well, since I'm doing the chin spoiler, I might as well just go into the painting real quick here. I'm not going to get in a lot of detail. So essentially I put a primer base down on top of the primer, just where you're going to see the outside. I actually sprayed a gray silvery color, not too bright, but anyways, there's no right, there's no wrong. It's whatever you do with your car, just whatever you buy for paint. You may want to record the numbers and colors of it in case you ever need to touch it up down the road. So I got the base coat down already, and then what I'm going to do is I got some shelf liner. I can roll the shelf liner out, and on top of that I'm going to spray some black, and that'll give you a little bit of checkered finish. I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so I've sprayed the black, removed the shelf liner, and this is the type finish you get, and a little bit too much contrast there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the black paint and just mist it over to kind of help darken it up a little bit and make that a little more subtle. So anyways, there's the effect, and let me just show you what it looks like after I mist it a little bit here. Okay, so after I mist it, this is what it's going to look like. I just left a part over here more original, so you can see this is what I started with, and then when I mist it over, it makes it more subtle. Now the paints I used actually were more of a gloss paint. So what I can do to finish this off now is I have a clear coat matte I'm going to paint over this with. That'll seal it up really nicely. The one thing I like about the mat, and why I'm a big fan of it, because I'm not a painter, the mat hides a multitude of shortcomings on your painting skills. So anyways, yeah, so I'll get that painted up now, and the next step would be put it on the car. I'll show you what it's like when it's matted. Before you go too far along from after this point, after you got it all cut out, being you had an 8x4 sheet, now you cut that in half when you picked it up or after you got it. So you have another 2x8 sheet of plastic in the garage. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this over my piece of 2x8 and I'm going to trace it out, and that will give me another pattern. So if I need to replace this chin spoiler for whatever reason, I got most of the work done already, so then all I have to do is cut out the other one and paint it and put it back on the vehicle too. Anyways, matte coat, and back at you shortly. Okay, so the matte coat is all done on the chin spoiler. It's all set to go. I got my spare piece of plastic out and did an outline of it. Just food for thought in case somebody wants to get creative. Now that you have an outline, you could create another chin spoiler just a little bit bigger, kind of two-tier angle it and kind of do a mixed effect to get that on the vehicle. So anyways, just food for thought. Before you put the chin spoiler on, one thing you should do to make your life a little bit easier is make sure that you put the chin spoiler rods on, because once you get the chin spoiler in here, you're gonna have a hard time drilling up into these. There's a metal bar underneath there on the bumper, very convenient. So anyways, good spot for those. So I got those ready to go for when the chin spoiler's on here after. So next step is to get the chin spoiler on the vehicle and fasten it, and we'll see how that works out. Okay, so the chin spoiler is fastened. Actually, this whole process wasn't near as hard as I thought it would be. It's pretty easy to do. So we are on. I'll wait till we get a sunny day and get the vehicle backed out and washed, and so you can see what the overall effect of this is underneath. Let me just see here. So on the back, again in front of the wheel well, I have, as I mentioned earlier, I got those two nut and bolt combinations there. Along the center, essentially, I got four nut and bolt holding it there, and I got two nut and bolts underneath where the red is on that mount bracket. Anyways, hope this helps. Let me see, wait for some sunny weather, get her outside, get her washed off, and see what it looks like outside. Alright, so chin spoiler is all done and installed, and I'm pretty happy with it. It worked out really well, and yeah, nice accent for the vehicle, not too big, not too overpowering, just kind of blends in nicely. If you're wondering about the green lighting, I got green LED lighting underneath the vehicle, and I've got it projector headlights, American Muscle, took out the blue running lights and put green LEDs in place to kind of match the car. So I just finished putting new tires and rims on as well, and well, there it is. Anyways, I hope this video was helpful to you guys, and thanks a lot for watching, and happy carring.